Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video, and it is the August-September 20 over 20. So 20 sales that I made during August and September that were over £20 in value. And usually I set these up in order, but for some reason today they are very, very random. So they're not coming out in date order, they're not coming out in price order, they're just coming out. Okay, first up then is the Miss Piggy reversible Kermit, Miss Piggy one side, Kermit the other side, oversized kind of snuggy hoodie thing. There's a whole company, isn't it, called Oodie there. This is not an Oodie, this was a Primark one. When I picked it up at the car boot sale, I didn't realise it was Primark. I think I paid £1. I'm pretty sure I paid £1. I know it came from Cheddar, and I'm pretty sure I paid £1, and it wasn't very long ago. It was listed on September the 1st, and it sold quite quickly, and it sold for £29.99. Now, I don't know how much these cost originally in Primark, but it was in beautiful condition. My only worry was that somebody would see the cover picture and think it was two they were buying, but yeah, presumably the person who actually saw it was perfectly intelligent enough to realize it was just one, and it sold for £29.99, so nice profit on my £1, worth looking out for, and a good pickup. Next up is one of the Young Rose cup and saucer sets. I bought two of these from Steve's stall at the car boot sale. I can't remember exactly what I paid, but I do know that it wouldn't have been much. I don't think they were on the main table. I think they were in his filler bag stuff. If they came in filler bag, then they've cost me 20p per set at the most. If it was on his table, then they may have cost me £1 or £2, because what I usually do is I pick up 7 or 8 bundles. I end up paying him a tenner, something like that, you know, 7 or 8. I pick up 7 or 8 items rather, I end up paying him a tenner, something like that. So either way, there's no way each of these cup and saucer sets cost me more than about £2 each, and I've got a feeling they were filler bag. I had this set, which is the blue mostly with the pinks around, and a second set which was green and pink. This set sold at the full asking price of £29.99, and the second set sold at £19.99, so they're not in this video because this video is actually 20 over 20 for a change, instead of me scraping extras in the corners. So it turned out that Young Rose was an early version of a potter called Rose Young, Mary Rose Young. And this is some of the stuff that she did in the 90s. She's become very, very successful in her field and does some other stuff, but this is some of the stuff she did in the 90s. There is another section of her work that is much more sought after, but even so, this was still very, very, very nice and very nice pickup for almost no money. And the buyer was very pleased with it, and I got it there unbroken, so that was a win for me. Next up is a Babyliss Platinum Diamond 235 hair straightener. I do not remember how much I paid for this, but I do know that it was car boot sale, and therefore £3 at the best. I don't usually pay more than £3. I might have gone as far as £5, but it'd be unusual for me to pay £5. I don't normally pay more than £3 for, even for a boxed hair appliance. So it's the Babyliss Platinum Diamond 235 hair straightener, barely used in its box. You could see when you took it out that it was in excellent condition. The instructions were there, everything you needed was there, really good nick, and this sold for £29.99 plus postage. I have got some notes because for some reason some of the items that sold at an offer price haven't come up as an offer price on the screen, so I made notes so that I wasn't misleading anyone. And the first one of those that needs talking about is this original duck head flower maze folding compact umbrella. This again came from the Cheddar car boot sale and cost me £1. It was brand new in its package, and I didn't know that these are quite expensive umbrellas. Well, I kind of had this idea that it wasn't cheap, but I didn't know quite how expensive they are. This one sold on a best offer of £28. I don't know why that hasn't come up on the screen, but it sold for £28. It was brand new in its packaging with all of its tags. Sadly, I had an email from one of you guys asking about it in the morning after the video went up, and I replied, but by the evening, by the time you came back to me, it had already sold on eBay, because eBay automatically sends out best offers on my behalf. And so I kind of had to really disappoint a viewer, which was sad because I prefer not to disappoint viewers if I can help it. But it was a nice sale at £28, nice return on £1. But I'm sorry to the viewer who wanted it, and if I ever see another one, you're top of my list. This is not such an exciting sale because this has been listed a very long time. So long, in fact, that the background in this picture is from when I had my main office in the bedroom that Tammy's now in. Now, Tammy's lived here now, I think, 18 months. So this listing is more than 18 months old. And therefore, when a best offer came in of, I've got it written down, £22, I was happy to let it go. The lady who bought it did not want the coffee pot, if I remember rightly. I think she bought the cups and saucers, but not the coffee pot. And I need to relist the coffee pot, which means I need to bring it down from the loft. Pretty sure it's just the cups and saucers. Although I'm doubting myself now because my memory's a little bit dodgy at the best of times. Either way, £22 on this, and it did arrive safely. So obviously getting better at packaging stuff and not having as many breakages. It has been listed for so long that I don't know what I paid for it. I think it was car boot sale. I don't think it was charity shop, but it's been listed so long that I've no idea. And bearing in mind that just because the background is the office doesn't mean it could have been a year before I came out of that office. I don't know. I do not know. This one has not been listed as long. This is a car boot pickup that I paid very little for. I don't know how much, and it's not that long ago. It might have been fill a bag. It's expired ink, and expired ink is always worth picking up because it quite often sells quite well. So this is actually 5 years expired. It's dated September 2020. You need to put that in the listing. You need to make that clear. But it's a HP 337 ink cartridge, which are still expensive, and it's sold. I'm just checking my list in case it's on here. No, it's sold at the price on screen, which was £25.99 plus postage. I think it was fill a bag. It might have been Steve's table. It could have been, I don't know. I wouldn't have paid more than a couple of quid. I would have paid £2 at the very, very most for an expired ink cartridge, because when I pick them up, I don't necessarily know if the one I'm picking up is particularly sought after or not. So I never pay too much just in case it isn't worth having. This one I've included partly to prove that you can sell stuff even with some of the worst photos ever taken by a human being. Look at the state of these photos. I didn't iron it. I didn't steam it. The photos are absolutely shocking. It is a Wainwright Manson sky blue 100% linen maxi fit and flare dress in a size 14. I believe it's a charity shop pickup. I think it may have been a pound rail at the charity shop. I don't think it was that long ago. Certainly quite a recent picture. It was this on June the 29th. And as you can see on this particular screenshot, it has shown that I took a best offer. So it has crossed out the main price, and I took a best offer of £25 on this one. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it was car boot for a quid, but it may have been a sack item. If it was a sack item, I buy bulk buy clothing sacks from a local charity shop. I don't have them as often anymore, but I do still get them. And if it was a sack item, then it costs me peanuts. 20 pence an item, 25, 50 pence an item at the very most, because I buy huge quantities for very little money, sort through it. A lot of it isn't worth listing, but the bits that are worth listing I put on. And like I said, if it's a sack item, then it'll be 50p at the most. 25 quid from that one. The large vintage ceramic floral painted crouching snuffling piggy money bank. I remember paying about £3 for it. I don't remember where. I think it might have been car boot, because I have a vague memory of him sticking at the top of the shopping trolley. So I think it may have been car boot, and I think I paid £3. It sold for £21, and I wouldn't be in a rush to pick another one up. And I say that having seen one in the charity shop today and not picked it up, partly because they hadn't put a price sticker on it, and partly because I remembered how much I hated having to pack him. He did get there intact, but I did not enjoy the packing process, and so I would not be in a rush to pick another one up, because the reward from £3 to 21 is not good enough for the stress that it took me to pack him and get him there safely. And I had to buy him a replacement stopper for him because his stopper was missing. So yeah, £21 for that one. It's still a sale over 20 quid, but I wouldn't rush to grab another one. This one is definitely a sack item. This is a Sea Salt Cornwall Enor dress in a size 12. Navy print 3/4 sleeve. And this one sold at the full asking price as seen on screen of £22.99. Definitely a sack item, cost me 50p. These were interesting. They are vintage Egyptian folk art wooden spindle dolls, but I did not know that when I picked them up. I knew that they were touristy, so to speak. I only picked them up in late September, and they sold very, very quickly, which possibly means I underpriced them. I did have a look. I did a Google image search, and that was what told me that they were Egyptian spindle dolls. And then I did a bit of research on eBay, and I priced mine according to what others had gone for. Some people had had much larger bundles. Some people had had 7 or 8, and they'd gone for more money. So I priced mine according to the divisive price per doll, and they sold very, very quickly. So either they just sold to someone who fell in love with them, or I underpriced them, who knows. But I got them, and it was either Steve's stall or Sue's stall at the car boot sale, I can't remember which, and I don't know how much I paid. And it's so recent, honestly, my brain is gone. My memory is absolutely a thing of the past. I can't remember how much I paid, but it'd be in a recent pickup video if you want to go and look. Anyway, $22.99 plus postage for those. They sold very quickly. I wouldn't have paid very much. I might have paid £1 for the 3 perhaps. And a pair of ruby shoe red heels. These are Susanna with the striped bow, and these have been listed again well over 18 months, because that's that background again from the old office. Now you can see the start time at the top of the screen here says October 9th 2024, but I was in this room by then, which means that that was a relist at that point. I must have ended and relisted, and I did go through a phase when I was in the other bedroom of ending all my listings and restarting them to try and boost my visibility on eBay. So that may be what happened then. So they are ruby shoe red heels. They are Susanna. I've got those on my list of things I sold at a best offer, £22. I've had them so long I don't know how much I paid. They're in lovely condition. They may have been charity shop. I don't know. I don't have a box for them, which implies charity shop rather than car boot, because often at a car boot, when you pick up this kind of shoe, the person's kept the box. £22 plus postage on those. And if they were a sack item, almost no money. If they were car boot, maybe a couple of quid. If they were charity shop, I probably would have paid up as far as a £5 on those, but certainly not more, because I'm tight. This Filofax came from the car boot sale. It was Steve's stall, I believe, and it had a very slight amount of damage on it. I think it was filler bag. It may have been on the table. I think it was filler bag. It was creased on the seam, and it had a little bit of damage somewhere. Was it on the front? I seem to remember seeing some damage. Maybe this is a different one. This may not be the same one. Oh no, this is the Filofax Classic. It's the cross I'm thinking of that I picked up that was slightly damaged. So ignore me. This one wasn't damaged, apart from the creasing on the spine, which is quite common with the Filofax. It wasn't damaged. I put good condition on it, and it sold for £22.99. I tell a lie, it sold for £20.69. So this is one of those where I must have sent out a 10% offer and it sold at £20.69, and I don't know why some of them come up and some of them don't. But if it did come from Steve's stall, it would have been less than £1. This was my single biggest hit for the entire video, and probably for this year actually. This is probably the highest value thing I've sold this year. This is the Folio Society 2008 edition of Ron Chernow's, Chernov, I don't know, Alexander Hamilton, including slipcase. It cost me £1. When I came home and looked it up, I was quite excited to see the prices some people had got for them, and I listed it at 180. Within 2 weeks, I had an offer of 160. And don't I wish I had taken that offer? Don't I wish I'd taken it, because I thought, oh no, I'm going to push for it. It's so soon, I'll go a bit longer. I think I pushed back at 170. Didn't get taken up on my counter offer. The buyer never came back to me. And then a period of time went in which I had no offers on it at all. And when an offer finally came through of 125, I took it, because I was like, you paid £1. You've already turned down 150 or 160 or whatever it was. You may never get a decent offer again. Take the 125 and run for the hills. So I took the 125. I was very pleased with the sale, but I'm still a little bit annoyed with myself for turning down that first offer. Maybe I should have just taken that. Maybe greed is not always good. Is it Wall Street that said greed is good? I don't know. Greed is naughty. So yeah, nice pickup. Folio Society books are often worth picking up. Not always, but often. Some are absolutely amazing. Some, there are two in particular that I know if I pick them up, I will be very excited to find them. But lots are not. Lots of Folio Society books have just lost their audience over the years. So if you ever see any of the pink fairy book, blue fairy book, green fairy book, I can't think of the author's name, but I'll put it on the screen as soon as I remember it, because it come back to me when I finish the video. Those are bangers. Always grab those. The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, Jane Austen, any of that in folio, always worth picking up. But there's a lot of other stuff that nobody's interested in anymore, that the market for is just gone. So do your own research, do your due diligence. But if you see Alexander Hamilton, grab that. The Hobbs Red Wool Cashmere Blend Winter Coat. I picked this up December last year. You can see that the background of the photographs, the pink and blue pastel things, are what I put up during Vlogmas, because I've got my fairy lights attached to them. I thought it would sell quite quickly, and I had a bit of interest, and I had a couple of lowball offers which I turned down. I listed it at £59.99 and I had offers coming in of 20, 25 quid, and I was like, no, that's too low. It was a beautiful coat. And then, of course, we came out of the season for it. We went through the summer and it just sat. But as soon as we came back towards winter again, it has gone. And I have accepted an offer of £54 on this one, which is a perfectly good return on what this came off a clothing rail at the car boot sale. I remember picking it up. I think it was £2. It might even have been £1, but I think it was £2. So perfectly good return at 54. These I did not pay for at all. These were sent to me by a viewer. When the box arrived, it had a note saying, please do not show this on the channel. I don't want any publicity or whatever. So I can't say who sent them to, but I was very, very pleased when I opened the box. You know who you are if you're watching this. And this particular viewer, I think, watches everything. So thank you very much. You know who. And in the box were an assortment of stuff, a whole range of different stuff. I'm starting to think even that ink cartridge from earlier on in the video may have been in there. Maybe. Possibly, because my memory's kicking in a bit now. Anyway, these are collection of pictorial guides, select and fells by Wainwright. So they're Wainwright's walking books. They're very popular. It was originally issued as a box set, but there was no box available with these. This was just the books, and they sold at £44.99. I don't think. Oh, sorry, £40.49. So 10% off must have gone out on there. £40.49 plus postage for those. And they cost me nothing at all. So thank you so much to that viewer. You know who you are. This is another one that, although it sold okay, I would not rush to pick another one up. I paid £5. When I saw an Eternal Bow Hostess bar cart for £5 at the car boot, so I bought two. Do you remember? You may remember if you saw the video. I bought two on the same day for £5 each from two different sellers. I saw one. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing for £5. I bought it, went around the corner, saw another one for £5. I bought two. Fitting them in the car was hilarious. Anthony was so entertained by it. However, got them home, realised that one was really quite rusted in places. And what we ended up doing with that was dismantling, and we've sold it off as trays. And two of the trays have sold. I've got one left. This one was in good nick, and I duly listed it, and then I was like, where the heck? It sat here waiting to be listed for ages because I knew that once I listed it, I was going to have to find somewhere to store it. I took it to the unit to store it in the end, and I just kept moving it out of the way. It was in the way for a while down there. But I took an offer of £34. I listed it at £39.99, took an offer of £34. There was £10 postage on there. And luckily, Natalie had the bright idea of dismantling it to pack it. I didn't think we could dismantle this one. It didn't seem to come apart the same way the other one had. And then Natalie had a good look at it and she said it will. We needed to get WD-40 on the screws to undo it. And we dismantled it and sent it off, and that made it easier to pack. It was still a beast. It was a beast to pack. I packed it on the waffle. It was unpleasant to pack. It did not give me a happy day. But it went and it arrived safely. I wouldn't rush to pick another one up. Again, you have to balance the amount of effort it takes you to get it out of the door and the size it is to store and all the rest of it with the actual return. Don't get me wrong, if I've sold for 500 quid, I'd be buying them all day long. Radley Larkswood Sky Blue Large Soft Leather bifold purse. This is such a beautiful purse and I wanted to keep it for myself, but I knew I didn't need it. I had only recently, and I mean very, very recently, bought myself a new purse. We went on a cruise in May and I bought myself a new Radley purse while I was on the cruise. And then I came back, and in June, early June, I picked this one up at the car boot sale, and I really wanted it, but I knew I didn't need it, and so I forced myself to list it, and it's gone out to a viewer actually, so thank you very much. You know who you are. She paid £39.99 plus post. I think I paid £3 for this. I know it was car boot sale. I think it was £3. I remember that it was in such beautiful condition that it was definitely worth the money. It may have been £5, but I think it was £3. My memory is absolutely shot to pieces. Here are two maybe slightly contentious listings. So very sadly, Ozzy Osbourne died in August, in very late July, early August. I think he died end of July, which was extremely sad for his family and all of his fans. And the day after his death, I went out with Tammy and Debbie grommet hunting. We were doing the Great Grommet Hunt, and we went into a charity shop and I found two of these books. So there is Trust Me, I'm Dr. Ozzy and I Am Ozzy, and it was in a charity shop in Fish Ponds where it was 5 books for £1. So they cost me 20 pence each. Now I know that there is a kind of a school of thought that says you should not cash in on somebody's death. But as resellers, kind of, my job is to pick up things that people want and move them on. And so when I saw these, I grabbed them and I thought I would put them on auction rather than just price them. I could have priced them really, really high to see what would happen, but I thought I'd put them on auction, let them find their own price. And I very rarely do auctions. I normally do buy it now, but because I thought I'd let them find their own price, I put them on auction. The first one went for $34.99. It only had one bid. So there you go. I started the auction on $5.43 on the 2nd of August, and this person put their bid on of $34.99 at $9:01.44. So within 3 hours of being listed, this person had gone, I am willing to pay up to $34.99 for that or whatever, and that's what they got it for. So that was the first one. And the second one, trust me on Dr. Aussie, was less popular in completed and solds. Again, I started at $4.99 on a 3-day listing, and when it ended, the person sent me a message immediately saying, I don't want this. And I was like, why did you bid then, you silly person? Anyway, I relisted it immediately, and this time there were 12 bids, and it was bid up to £32. There we go, it was bid up to £32, and that's what it sold for. One of the last two items, here we go. We've got a Tweed Mill vintage green check tartan blanket throw, all wool, British made. Came from the car boot sale. I think I paid £1. I did have to wash it. It had stains on. It was on the, I remember hanging out on the line. It had stains on, and I had to put it on a very gentle wash to get the stains out. But it came up beautifully. I listed it at $39.99 plus post, and I took an offer of £30. So it sold for £30. It was a lovely blanket, but it did have some marks on it, but they washed out really, really well. So I was pleased about that, because I wasn't confident that I'd get the stains out. With it being wool, I was like, oh, it might not go well. But yeah, £30 for that. And the last item is a roll of wallpaper. So Liberty Art fabric wallpaper. I only pick up Liberty, Laura Ashley, and kind of high-end wallpapers like that. I don't pick up anything else. I pick it up for filler in parcels. But as a general rule, when you see Liberty and you think that should be a safe bet. But even so, I think this was listed a while before it went. My start time on this one is February the 13th. And it didn't sell until September. So it has gone finally for $29.99. I think I only had one roll of this. I think it was just one roll. $29.99. It will have come from the car boot sale. I don't remember how much, but it won't have cost much. £1 or £2 at best. And that's it. That is my 20 over 20 for August and September. Sales have improved slightly. I was able to easily find 20 over 20, whereas in a couple of previous videos I'd had to scrape a few in and add a few together or whatever. So I was pleased that sales have improved to the point where I had 20 over 20. My average selling price is still very low, and I've run a lot of auctions recently to clear out some very, very dusty old stock. My future with eBay remains uncertain. I was talking with Anthony today and said I could possibly see that in 6 months' time, me and eBay will part company. It isn't what it was, and I don't enjoy it the way I used to. I don't enjoy listing. I don't enjoy packaging. I don't enjoy going to the storage unit. I don't enjoy going up into the loft. The only part I still enjoy really is the car boot sales, and I don't enjoy them as much as I used to. Even those have changed. The landscape of the car boot sale has changed. The world is changing. Even the calibre of the items available at our car boot sale is changing. It's becoming more and more like a market stall, or, you know, we've got some very odd kind of traders who are selling some very, to my mind, not car booty things. And you see fewer and fewer amateurs, and you see more and more people who are buying in bulk off AliExpress or Temu or Shein and then taking it to the car boot sale and selling. And that's not what I want to go for. That's not what I'm shopping for. And I'm seeing more and more of that, and more of tables of stuff that's plainly shoplifted. You know, people with tables and tables full of coffee and dishwasher tablets and washing stuff. And I'm like, this is you've plainly just, either you are shoplifting, your family is shoplifting, or you're buying from shoplifters and selling it at the car boot sale. And there was a time when none of that would have been allowed. So I think the world is changing, the landscape of the car boot is changing, and I don't enjoy it as much as I used to. So I've got an awful lot of unlisted stock. I'm still buying because it seems to be what I do, and yet I look at it and I think, but you're not listing it anywhere near as fast as you're buying it because you don't enjoy listing anymore. So I think I have to have a very strong rethink about where me and eBay go. And I think it's possible that in 6 months' time we might part company, by which time hopefully I would have cleared some of it down a bit. we shall see. I may change my mind. I may rediscover my love for it. It may pick up. It may be wonderful. Everything might be tickety-boo. You never know. It might just be me going in a downward slump because of the time of year. I don't like this time of year. I experience quite a hefty dose of seasonal affective disorder. And this is my gloomy time because I see the winter months approaching and I can't get away from them. So it might just be that my mood is down because of that. I might feel completely different come the spring. Thank you for joining me for this one. As always, I hope you've enjoyed it. I make these videos not to show off about what I've sold because, as I've said many times before, there's precious little to show off about here. I make these videos so that if you are thinking of buying stuff at the car boot to resell, you might see something and think, I never would have thought to pick that up. It might be helpful. With all that said, I will see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.